Okay, so we have the question here, all right? Hope you can see the information here. We've been given information about this company, and we have to find the value of the closing inventory using first in, first out, last in, first out, and the average costing method. So we're going to start with the first in, first out method, where the inventory that comes in first should be sold or issued first. So we've been given information here. Date details, with the date, details, units, unit price, and values. Okay, so the first thing we need to jot down first is our opening inventory. What is the opening inventory? Okay, that's the first thing you always need to look for, your opening inventory. If it's not given to you, no need to use it. All right. Okay, so 1st January. Okay. Oh, this is the store's ledger. I forgot to mention. This is the store's ledger, and this is going to help us with the inventory valuation. Okay, there are three main columns. Okay, the purchases column. Okay, purchases are also called receipts. Then you've got the second main column, which is the sales or the issues. And then finally, the main column, the third and final main column is the balance column. These columns have a quantity, price, and a value. Okay, they have a quantity, price, and a value. So we'll start with our opening inventory. 1st January, balance brought forward 100 units, valued at 50 kwacha per unit. So 100 units, valued at 50 kwacha per unit. So get the total value of our opening inventory, which is 100. It's already been given to us 5,000. This 5,000 here. Just multiplying 100 times 50, and then we get 5,000. That's the first thing. First, put in your opening inventory. Then the next thing that we do now, we go to our next transaction. On 9th January, we issued 40 units. Okay. So one thing you must remember, the goods that are issued or sold are valued at cost price. Reason being, when you value them at cost price, you'll be able to get your cost of goods sold easily. And remember, inventory is an asset. Assets are valued at cost. Right. So 9th January, we issued 40 units. Okay, so we'll value them at the cost of this opening inventory, which is 50 kwacha. So get the total value. So we're going to say 40 times 50. $2,000. Okay, so since this inventory has been issued out, so we had initially 100 units, we issued out 40, so it means we're remaining with 60 units valued at 50 kwacha per unit. You're going to say 60 times 50, 3,000. Any questions, colleagues, before I move further? Hmm. Okay, wait. Issue sometimes it can be, you can also issue it to another department. Okay. Also, other times you can issue it to sales department where it will be sold. So yes, basically what you've said. So, but don't always equate issues to sales. Sometimes the issues, it means it's going from one department to another department. It hasn't yet been sold. Okay. At times that's what it can mean. But receipts is purchases. Okay. Receipts is purchases. But issues on sales, remember, issues can be to another department. Sales means, okay, I've now sold it. The good has been sold. Okay, we go to the next transaction. 15th January receipt. So means we purchase some goods. So you say 15th January. We purchased 50 goods valued at 55 kwacha each. Excuse me. I don't know why Excel is acting slow here. 50 valued at 55 kwacha each. So we're going to say get the total value. 50 times 55. Okay, my Excel is acting slow, meaning I have to take it now to Word. Let's see if it's responding better now. Okay, 50 times 55 times 2,750. So now here, colleagues, every time there is a purchase or a receipt, your inventory, you need to like separate. Okay, you need to separate it. Okay, so initially we had 60 goods valued at 50 kwacha each. The total value was 3,000. Now we've brought in 50 goods valued at 55 kwacha. The total value is 2,750. Okay. Each time there's a purchase, you need to separate your inventory like this. Okay. So we go to our next transaction. We received another 50 goods valued at 60 kwacha. So we're going to say 20th Jan. 20th January. Issue of a receipt of 50 units. So 3,000. Okay. So now we have another receipt, another purchase. So again, our inventory, we need to divide it again. So initially we have the 6 units at 50 kwacha each. Total value 3,000. You have 50 units valued at 55 kwacha, 2,750. And now you have brought in another 50 units valued at 60 kwacha each, 3,000 each. Yes. So every time there is a purchase, have you noticed you will need to be segregating or separating your inventory. Okay. Every time there is a purchase. Okay. Then next, 29th January, we had the sale of 70 units, on issue of 70 units. All right. So come 29th January, we issued 70 units. So now this is where the first in, first out to come into effect. Okay. So we sold 70 units. So we need first, with first in, first out, we're going to remove from the first batch that was there, or the batch, the oldest batch basically. Whenever you issue under first in, first out, you're going to get the oldest batch, or the batch that was there first. That's the one you're going to remove from first. Okay. So we've issued out 70 units. So we're going to focus on this batch first here. This was the batch that was they are the earliest. Okay, these 60 units valued at 50 kwacha. All right. So from the 70 we issued, 60 are coming from here. So on this column here, we'll put 60 valued at 50 kwacha per unit. Total value 3,000. Then the remaining 10 will be removed from this next batch here. Okay, because remember we've issued out 70. The first 60, we've removed the first batch. The remaining 10 units will be removed from this batch in the middle because it was earlier than this last batch there. So here you're going to put 10 units valued at 55 here. Okay. So this mhm. Okay, I'm recording, yes. I'm recording. I'm recording everything. Yes. Yes. Any question on this? That's how you do the issues. Okay, so we come now to our balance. All right, so these 60 units have all gone. These 50 units, we removed 10 from them, so we remained with 40 units valued at 55. Yes. Mm-mm. Has since we issued 70, so since we removed from this first batch, so that's why I've put it here. Then the remaining 10 come out from the second batch. Yes. So this is the inventory we've remained with now here. After the issue, okay, we've now remained with 40 units valued at 55 kwacha each and 50 units valued at 55 kwacha each. So now we can get the value of the closing inventory. Okay, so you just total up these two values, 2,200 plus 2,750. That is 4,950. That is the value of your closing inventory. And that's the amount that is taken to the financial statements and the balance sheet. Any questions before we now move to Lifo? Okay, we can move to Lifo, last in, first out. So with Lifo, the goods that came in last or the latest goods will be issued or sold first. So I'll use this same table. They are pretty much the same. Okay, so now we're good doing LIFO. Last in, first out. So as I said with this one, the opening balance part where you put this amount 100 units at 50 kwacha, it will stay the same. Okay. Here we had an issue. Okay. So since we just had one batch of inventory, so if there were two batches of inventory, would have two or more batches would have done leave. But here there was only just one batch. Okay. So when we issue these 40 units, it will still be the same like the one we did earlier on. Just say 40 units valued at 50 kwacha, total value 2,000. And the remaining units in your factory or shop will be 60 units valued at 50 kwacha. The receipts, these receipts here, it's also still going to be the same here. Okay. You bring in 50 valued at 55 kwacha, you separate like this so that you have got two batches. You bring in another 50 units valued at 60 kwacha, you separate so that now you've got three batches. Then we have an issue of 70 units. So this time, since we've got three batches, so we're going to remove from the latest. Last in, okay, first out, meaning We've issued 70 units. So the batch that came in last, or the latest batch, is these 50 units at 60 kwacha per unit. So we'll remove from them first. Okay. So we're going to say 50 units valued at 60 kwacha. That is 3,000. Then the remaining 20 units we're going to get from this batch in the mid. Okay. So 50. So 20 units valued at 55 kwacha. You get 1,100. So what we've remained within our shop, these 60 units at 50 kwacha. And then here from these 50, these 6, yeah, these 60. Then from this 50 in the mid, we remove the 20. Okay, the one in the middle here, we remove the 20 from there. So we have 30 units valued at 55 kwacha. Okay. So our value of closing inventory, 4,650. Excuse me. Any questions? Okay. There are no questions. We can now go to the third method, which is Avco, average costing method. So we need to remember this formula. The average cost is the total cost divided by the quantity. Okay. Total cost divided by the quantity. So we'll be applying this every time there is a purchase. Okay. Instead of separating like here, while we're separating, we'll be getting the average. Okay. So let me get this and may prepare the average costing method. Okay, so we start with the average costing method. So opening balance 1st January still stays the same, 100 units. Valued at 50 kwacha per unit. Which is 5,000. Okay, the next we had an issue. 9th January issued 40 units. Okay, so here it's going to still be the same. All right, because as I said, here we've just got one batch. So if you want to find the average cost, if you just divide 5,000 by 100, you still get 50 kwacha here. Okay. So these 40 units valued at 50 kwacha, we get 2000. That's the total value, 2000 kwacha. So our balance, we had 100 units, we issued 40. So we remain with 60 units valued at 50 kwacha, 3000. Next, 15th January, we purchased some goods, all right? Receipts. 50, 50 goods valued at 55 kwacha. Total value here. So this is where Avco is going to now come into play, all right? So initially we had 60 units valued at 50 kwacha. Right, then we've now brought in 50 units valued at 55 kwacha. Okay, so here what we want to do is now want to find the average. Okay, so this is how we find the average. As I told you, total value or the total cost divided by the total quantity. Okay, so here the total value or the total cost of the inventory is this: 3000 plus 2750, 5750. The total amount of inventory that we have in the shop: 60 plus 50, 110. So one get what is the average cost? The total value of the inventory, 5750, divided by 110, which gives us 52.2727. We'll just leave it to two decimal places. Yes, 52.27. This is the average cost. Any questions? Yes. Yes. No need to calculate the average cost when you issue out. And when you're issuing out, this is the amount you use, this 52.27. Mm-hmm. The total value divided by the quantity. Okay. We have another receipt. Okay, 20th January, another receipt, 50 units at 60 kwacha. 3,000. So we get this previous batch which we had here where we got the average. Why is it changing numbers here? One ten 52.7 5,750. Then we got these protein 50 units valued at 60 kwacha. Oh, 52.27. Thank you for that. Is it visible in this color? Let me change the color here so that we put it as a light color. Okay, yes. So again, we need to calculate the average. Okay, so you're going to say 5,750 plus 3,000, 8,750. That's the total cost of the inventory. Then total amount of inventory 110 units plus 50 units, got 160 units. So our average cost, you're going to say 8,750 divided by 160, you get 54.68. We just round off to two decimal places. Okay, it's advisable round off to two decimal places so that life is made easy. You don't want to be using a lot of decimal places. Mhm. Yes. Any questions before we now look at the issue? Okay, so with Avco, issues are now even easier. Issued 70 units, so 29th January, 70 units valued at 54.69. 3,828.3. So we initially had 160 units. We issued out 70. So we've remained with 90 units valued at 54.69. So the value of the closing inventory, 90 times 54.69. That's the value of the closing inventory, 4,922.1. That is Avco. Okay. Every time you get a purchase, you get the average cost. And then when there's an issue, you just use the average cost, basically. No need for looking for your first batch or your last batch. No. So which one do we prefer, colleagues? If you are an accountant and then there are still